All right. Hi, folks. So last night, I modeled up the two Led Zeppelin ramps I'm using to a much better accuracy than it was. I went in my shop. I got the loop or the left ramp. You know that little J-shaped ramp, and I got the right ramp. You know the loop back ramp, and I made sure that to the best of my ability, everything was modeled accurately. And I also turned them into assemblies. So, for instance, the that left J ramp is now this thing. You can see I have the mounting point here. I have the ramp flap and everything mounted on here. I believe these flanges are relatively in the right spot. I can tweak those a little later on, but everything else seems to be about right on this one. And then the loop back that I have, this guy. This I also added ramp flaps and things to it, and all kinds of other little details like the mounting point, these little side bend points that I believe maybe the habit trail would go into. Obviously, over here, this is where the opto would get mounted to. I'm not going to use an opto on this. I'm going to use a regular overhead switch, but I can use these two 440 screw holes, rivets, riv screws, whatever they are, as mounting points for a 3D printed apparatus that kind of hangs over this thing that the little dangle switch can be attached to. And then this hole is in the right spot, and the heights and everything are correct on these. So that's what I did last night. Not really something completely related to Pumpkin. This is more general parts that we can get. I know Sam's game also uses that J ramp. It's known as the Led Zeppelin left ramp. His game uses that, and Marco gave a bunch of them away, so a bunch of people have them. Anyways, so that's what I did last night. And to make sure they fit, I didn't modify anything on Pumpkin other than just place those assemblies into the where is it? Into the game, right? So now Pumpkin King has those full ramp assemblies, and I can start adding to the assemblies later on to I can add this piece of plastic on there. I can add the ramp switch and plastic and everything, a 3D print part on there, and yeah, everything fits. This plastic back here that kind of goes behind the ramp is a problem. I'm sorry, is a problem because the ramp goes way far back. Let's see if I can just isolate these things. This guy, isolate you, and then the right ramp assembly for plastic. Yeah. So if we can take a close look at this on the bottom here, it kind of fits, but it's a little too tight for my liking. Like with tolerance, like real world tolerances, this isn't gonna fit. So, but this is just easy to kind of pull this out a little bit, right? And that's something I want to do today, just to finish repairing some of those things. Um, the other thing I did yesterday during my lunch break, I finally figured out how I want this thing from this ramp to deliver the ball to this return ramp. And I drew something up here. I'll scan this in at some point, but it's going to be a multi-part assembly that uses plastic as guides. It uses metal as the ramp section itself, like the return lane itself, and metal as a scoop on the side here. So there's a metal scoop here. There's a metal part right here, And then on here there's like plastic sides. You'll see it as I model it out today. That's the big thing I want to get done today. That will dictate kind of if I can mount this without needing lots of different mounting holes. One thing that this assembly does use is if you take a look at this right here, this is a mounting point that would be someplace like around here, like right around kind of near here. I might carve out a spot here because I don't need all that plastic, and there'll be a post that comes up like right around here that mounts that there. And then on this this scoop part over here, there's a single post that comes up around here or so, wherever makes sense, because I have a tiny spot that a post could fit in between the launch lane, the orbit, and like the metal guides and things. So that's what that's gonna be. So I guess without further ado, and since I have that since I have this ramp made, I can actually make this thing now. And those two post holes, I think, are the last two holes that I really need for the main playfield. So I'll do an audit of that at the end. All right. So, also, what you can see now that the ramps are more accurate, everything fits kind of the way it's supposed to fit, which is really cool. Now, this cuts in a little bit at the bottom there, but in reality, that's kind of sitting on the wood, so I'm not too concerned about that. And over here, this really pushes up against the rubber, but again, rubber squishes a little bit, so I'm not too concerned about that. These aren't perfectly accurate with entrances and things. They're off by like fractions of a millimeter here and there. So this post might need to shift over ever so slightly, like literally half a millimeter or one millimeter or less to the right to accommodate for some of this. But I'm not really sure. Oh, the other thing I realized yesterday that I need to do is the target that's underneath this guy needs to be readjusted again, because the slingshot used to be down here and it was moved up to make room for the target and the post here. So that slingshot is now aiming down here, that target is now aiming down here, not up here. That's going to be the first thing I want to do today, so I don't forget it later on, because I'll be very angry with myself if I do forget it. That's related to this sketch. This is now going too low. I want this. I unfix this. I want this to go a little higher like this. Because now, depending on where I put this, if it's over on this side, this becomes 14.83. 14.3. So this will then go right over onto the slingshot. And if I pull this all the way to this side, this becomes 17.63. 17.63. And that sends it way up there. Okay, so that's too much. I don't want that. In fact, fix this. In fact, I guess I want it more horizontal than it was. So now this is 10.11. 10.11. That's way too low. I want this to be more like 12. And then the other one to be 12. make this other thing 12, 11, 13. On the left side, 13 is probably okay. Okay, and then all the way on the right side, 10.5. Okay. Going down there, I mean, the ball's never going to really get that far. It's going to go here, so 10.26. So that's obviously not ideal. This is where it gets kind of really finicky. Oh, 0.25. That goes to the lower end. And the upper end is here. This is 14.22. That goes there. So when you hit it right in the middle, it's more flat on there. Okay, so this is probably the new angle that I need. So it's almost the same, but you can see it's ever so slightly different. Ice holes, this guy. Yeah, so the old angle is this one right here. The new angle is this. So it's just slightly different. Just slightly different. Unfix this. Align this with this. Pull this down this way ever so slightly so it had more centered. Let's fix this. Okay. Target is not aligned, but it will be. This needs to be parallel to this. Why is that going to overdefine it? What is this currently mated to then? Oh, it's fixed. This and this are now parallel. Okay. Now I can refix this. And then place this where I need to float it, and then place it where I want it. Which is right here. Okay. So that angle has been updated. Now that reflects more back onto this thing, like I want it. That was step 1 today. Step 2, I'll create a sketch. Actually, I'm going to make an assembly. I'm going to bring the assembly over here and then sketch on the assembly. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do it. File, new, assembly. All this. Make a new directory here. This is going to be known as the right ramp return. So, ramp return. I can take the right ramp return assembly, bring it in here. these things. Put these two ramps. Well, let's fix these in place. Well, they're already fixed in place. Let's just move these into ramps. Get them out of there. Right ramp return. Where's the origin? Here it is. Pull this. We're going to put this origin over here a little bit so I can do a sketch. Now, I don't know exactly how I want. Well, I think I kind of know how I want this to. Yeah, I kind of know how I want to do this. Okay. So I can just put that there. So it's close enough. I can fix that for now. I'll place the height eventually. Right now I just want to get the rough sketch in there for this particular return assembly, which is the return assembly just comes out of the ramp. The drop down assembly is, well, I guess that's just a piece of metal, so it can all be part of the same assembly, right? Yeah, it can all be part of the same assembly. All right, anyways. So if I start editing the part and making a sketch. So this flap needs to come out from here in some way. Like that. This width should be a little smaller than that thing. So that would be, oh, this is a millimeter. God damn it. This should be 0.75 inches, I think. Yeah, that's a little smaller than that. It should definitely be centered in this thing. So I'll create a relation for the time being just to keep it centered, so it doesn't get all kerfuffled as I do this. Oh. This whole thing is going to slide in there. It's going to have, you know, some chamfer on this. All right. I don't know why I disconnected. Like the internet's perfectly fine here. I guess Facebook had a hiccup or something. I really don't know. Anyways, we're back. I didn't, as soon as I noticed disconnect, I didn't modify. I didn't do anything else. So, um, right. This is going to be that long. From there, then from here is going to be like 7/8 inch. Sure. That way there's enough of a flange, it's fine. And then now here I want to have two different tabs based on this drawing here. I want to have a side tab that basically comes straight out. So I'm going to take this line actually and I'm going to split it up into 3 segments to make it easy for me to do things. 1, 2, 3. So this flange should be 1/2 inch. Yeah, that's really long. Then I want 1/8 of an inch to separate. And then this flange can be another 1/2 inch. And that's roughly how long that section needs to be. And then on this other side, I'll be able to do just a half an inch, just completely opposite of this one, that both bend down, whereas this one bends over and across. So now that I have that, I'll make this for construction. This will come out like here. And, with my drawer in here, I have it kind of hooking around. I don't think I need that because, as you can see, when I pull this straight out, there's dead space here. I can just put a post, which makes life really, really easy. So I can just put a post right here. This length is going to be not that length. This length is going to be 0.75. 1. Be 1 inch sticking out. And then that's where this hole is going to go. Over here. The hole should be 3/16. 16. And then the distance should be 3/16. So this distance here actually doesn't need to be 1 inch. This distance can be, excuse me, sorry. This distance can be 3/4 of an inch, like I thought it would be. No, 0.75 inches. 7/8. Yeah, that gives enough space for the post. So the first mounting post will be right here. So that's cool. Next, this is going to be for construction. And now I can have this loop around. Now, the neat thing is, because I want it to be right over here, this can curl onto itself a little bit. Because this section right along here is going to bend down. This section's flat, but this section's going to bend down. And you'll see that in a minute once I get all this made. That. Construction point this, or this is equal to this. And this, now I have a small segment that's tangent. I have a small segment coming off of here. I'll fix that segment in a minute. This and this are tangent. This and this are tangent. This and this is perpendicular. This and this is perpendicular. Now those are the correct size. So this is going to come like right across this way. That's actually pretty perfect how it comes straight across. But this is going to be split up into a couple different segments. So that's going to be for construction. The first segment, might as well just make this horizontal, eh? The first segment is going to be an allowance for me to curve the thing and then bend, because bends need, an 1/8 of an inch allowance on both sides to work. And then this is going to continue this way until about here. And this is kind of where it's going to stop. And then the ball will clunk right down here with the little scoop thing. on this end, I'm going to have two little hooks that are going to hook into the scoop assembly over here. So this can pull up a little bit more, because ultimately there's going to be a you know, a little cut like this in here. Help guide the ball into the center. Midpoint on here. And then distance between here and here, we'll make that 0.75. And these two things kind of really need to be centered. It's an easy way to do this without screwing shit up. This, and this. And then this goes to the center of this. To here. This is going to be full linear. Okay, that fixes that. Probably doesn't need to be 0.75. Probably 5/8 is good enough for this. Pull this back to about here. And then this is going to be 0.5. 0.75. Something like that. This segment here is going to be something like 2.5. Yeah, something like 2.5 or 2 and 5/8. That'll make it clear this plastic here. Again, this is going to be bending down, so it's going to guide it right into the thing. And a mounting post is going to be right over here. This needs to be a fillet of 1/16 inch, like right there. Radius out of the way a little bit. So that's kind of how that's going to look. And then there's two flanges, or two little hooks that come up and out. Kind of like this. That's going to attach onto the plastic, or onto the other metal piece. So this only needs to be about 1/8. No, this should be 3/16. This should be 1/8. This should be whatever's left. Yeah. This section I'm going to trim out because I want this to be a little more, I want this all to be part of the same initial part. This is going to be 332. This length is going to be 532. No, I guess 3/16 makes sense there. That way it hooks in and it can't move around. I kind of want this to be more than 332. I think I want this to be 432, or 1/8 inch thick, which means this should be 0.25. 0.25 inches. So that has enough of a hook. And these are going to slide in and lock in. And then the same thing happens on this other side. here, to here, to here, to here, here. This needs to be collinear. This equal. This is equal. All right, and then trim this and add in that center line here. So those are the two little hook points that go on the loop flange. And remember, all of this section here is bent. So I'm just going to need to remember some of these sizings when I bend it. And this is a flat part, obviously. When I go to make this in a moment, I'm going to make everything from here to here flat. And then I'm going to make another side sketch that pulls down that will have all these designs on it. But I'll use the length of this as a guide to know how far over that needs to go. Okay, let's save. Oh, right. Let's save this. Now let's kill this and work directly in here now that we know what's going on. So this bent metal part is actually going to work out pretty well, which is kind of nice. This is the first part I need to make. So insert components, new part. This is going to be right ramp turn. What is this? Base. I'll call this the base. Base lane. I'll call it base lane. Call this base lane. Save an external file. My path. Over here. Yep. Okay. Load this. Let's. Now well, the origin can't really be over here because I think I want the origin of this to be this point right here. So if I take this point and I made it to that and then fix this there, I think that makes sense for this particular thing. So now let's go to this, pop, sketch, and I'm going to just copy everything that I kind of did up to this point. Convert entities. So it's going to be all of these things. Here, because that's where the bend is going to be. And I might as well make this whole as well, because that is valid for that, and that can all guide on its own. Okay, so now features extrude 1/1/16. So that's cool. Now the next part is the side piece here. This is going to be coming down. And thankfully, this is all like horizontal, like axis aligned horizontal, which is going to make this down guide really, really, really easy comparatively. I'm going to edit a sketch here. And I'm going to start coming down. And this down guide goes all the way to this point right here. And so that's what I'm going to kind of guide with as I go. I'll fix all this up in a minute. Perpendicular. This is perpendicular. Yeah, no. This is perpendicular. This is perpendicular. Okay. And this, nope, this and this are equal. That brings that down. And I'll use a guideline here from here to here, and that guideline is vertical. Because remember, that's the edge. Oops. That's the edge of our assembly here, so that needs to go to that point. And I want this to be, 1 inch down. So I want this to go down like that. I'm going to change this. I don't know how this is actually going to look until I put this into the assembly. I don't remember the size of it. But I'm going to assume right now that that's the size that I need, or that's the angle that I need. Because that just makes life easy. Why are you not fixed right there? Oh, all right, well, I can do that, and then I can fix that. Okay, so now that's that angle, and features extrude from there all the way. Nope, come on. To the surface over here. No, 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 no. Sketch plane. Up to the surface. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Now I can go look straight down, and I'm gonna hide this sketch because it is gonna get in the way, because now that sketch was made flat and I'm gonna be making things tilt slanted. So it won't be useful to me. If I edit this sketch, and let's start off by making this cut that I want to make, which I said was 5/8 and 1 inch. 5/8 and 1 inch, or 0.75. And this is going to be in the middle, in the mid, like the full true midpoints of everything, horizontal. And then this edge here has a 1/16 inch fillet. Okay. Here's extrude cut, roll, and boom, now we have that. And then on this side, sketch, gonna go normal to the plane. Now we're gonna add those two little flanges. It comes up, over, in, over, down, just like this, our sketch. Up, over, in, over, down, like our sketch. These are collinear. These are collinear. Equal. These are going to be equal. So now when I say 0.25, 3/16, What was that? And then this, no, this was 3/16. Stop. Stop. This was 3/16. I think. Yeah, and then this was, nope, nope, nope. This was 3/16. Why are you giving me problems? This is 3/16. Oh, this is 1/8. What am I doing? This is 1/8. That allows a 16th of an inch play. And this is 3/16, right? This is 3/32. Oh, this was 4/32. So that was 1/8. That was 1/8. That's looking a little bit more correct because this hooks in to the thing. Okay. Features extrude up to up to surface. It's going to be the other side of this surface. There. So now those are little hooks that the thing can grab onto. The final couple pieces I need to add are the plastic mounting points. And those are going to be dangly things on the sides. Now, something that I might, well, I might change a little bit with this, which is gonna be a little annoying actually. Maybe not. Maybe I won't change that. I think this will be fine. Okay. Let's sketch. Add these points here. That goes there, there. Let's see, is this going to be big enough to do what I want, firstly? This is 3/8. Yeah, that'll be big enough. Good. Both of these are going to be 1/2 inch. I don't think they need to be 1/2 inch. Because they're going to have a 1/8 inch rivet in there. So they might only need to be 7/16 inch. If it has a 1/8 inch and I give it no, it only needs a 3/8 inch. So that's kind of good. And then obviously this is going to be 1/8. So if I do that and I go back up to this, let's see how this changes a little bit. I'm going to fix this line. But this thing here now is going to be 3/8. 3/8. So that adds more curve, which is more preferable to have a little bit more curve. That shifted this. I don't want this to shift. I want this to be fixed. And then I want this to be oh, that's because of that. So let's fix this. There, okay. So now let's make this 3/8. Okay, yeah, so that added a little bit more curve there, which I think is a little more desirable. On here. Oh, that's because that's not. Oh, no, no, I didn't want collinear. Okay, all right. So I think, yeah, that added a little bit more curve, and I think that's going to be fine. And this thing here, this also technically doesn't need to be half an inch, does it? 3/8. I mean, technically, that only needs to be 3/8 because that's just holding that in place. Like most of this, the brunt of this force is going to be held by the ramp. This is just keeping it fixed horizontally. So I think that's going to be fine because I really want nice gradual curves along here because that will make my idea in my uh, effects more interesting. I think that changes that. Um, I also kind of want this to sweep way down and curve in. That no, that's gonna be a little more. That's gonna be too much. That's gonna be too much. Okay, so now back to this features. I didn't. Um, this guy edit component. Screwed this. And up to surface. This surface. Okay. Then on the bottom, this is gonna come down. Uh, is 5/16. I'm sorry, 7/16. I think. Yeah, I think it needs to come down 7/16. That and this, and then these two are equal, and they are 1/16. Root 7/16. Okay, so that comes down there. I'm going to attach plastic with the rivets to add the curl I need and block block the ball. And then with the plastics, I can make them clear plastic. Well, they'll be clear plastics, obviously, but I can draw vines on it, so it looks like vines as you swing around. So that's the idea here. Sketch. This is 1/8. Yeah, see the side. I don't even need 3/8 there. I can probably do 5/16. The more gradual the curve, the better, because I'd like the plastic to kind of curve around the bend or to not curve around the bend in some situations, because I think that would be kind of neat. So this is 3/16 there. Yeah, I can make this a little thinner. I might be able to make it a quarter of an inch, to be quite frank. Through cut through all. What happens if I do that? What are you bitching about? make you 0.25 inches. Oh, come on now. What is your problem with this? This moves fine. I see what it's from here to here then. 0.25 inches. It was complaining because it thought I wanted to kind of rotate something along the arc here, which is not what I wanted to do. Now here. Right, that's because these things are wrong. So if I change this to be, oh, what? Yeah, no, not that. If I change this to be 25, that fixes everything. Yeah, because that's all I need to rivet plastic on there. I mean, it doesn't need to be fancy. Okay, and then on this side, the same thing down here. And because this is orthogonal, I can easily just kind of do this. Point that, please. And this is 0.25. And then this is, oh, this is 1/8. And we'll bump all this down 1.5. Sure. Because at that point, it's starting to get hooked in and the ball won't be able to get out. Features extrude up to surface. One. Here. Now let's add the other sketch, pull those things down. Again, it's orthogonal, so it makes life really easy. This and this are equal, and they're 1/16. And this extrudes. What was the other one? It was 7/16, I think. Here. Is 1/8 for the rivet. And it's 3/16 up from the bottom. So, all right. Why are there two? Okay, this is confusing. Why is there two of these? That's really confusing. That's really confusing. Okay. Um. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Features extrude cut through all. Okay, so that adds that. Now I want my 132 and 116 fillets. So 132 is on the inside, and 332 is on the outside, not 116. Sorry. 332 on the outside. And I actually want these same fillets here. Fillet. Oh, this one. Okay. Because that's going to be a bend, but it's, it's not really going to be a gradual bend. It's just going to be a boom, off, a drop bend. So there's this. Oh, a couple more things I want to do. I do want to add a fillet, a 1/16 inch fillet around this, I believe. What about down here? I can probably add it to these as well, just for funsies. Not that one. Not that. Yeah, I can add that around those. I don't want it around these sections because these sections need to be kind of sharp to hook in. Added those fillets there. I need to add. Oh yeah, I also wanted to add that fillet up there. No, I'm sorry. I want chamfer for that. This here and here. So this is gonna be 3/16 like that. So it slides in. Slides right in. That's the mounting point. Those are those. Okay, so I think that is good for this part. And just as an example, if I take this part, let's exit out of the assembly for a minute. Let's go right to the part. If I take this part, I select this, I say sheet metal, convert to sheet metal, select all bends. I should not have an issue when I flatten the part. Yeah, see, so that's the flat part that'll go to send cut send to get cut. Oh, hi Tom. This is SolidWorks. So yeah, anyways, that's what it looks like flat. I'm not gonna convert it right now in case I need to make changes, but that's kind of how that all. Okay, so what I am gonna go do now is go back to Pumpkin, the main playfield. This will pop in. It's not gonna be in the right spot, obviously, right here. So I need to raise it up so it mates right onto this. So I gotta float this. And it's gonna be mate from there to bottom of this thing, if I can find the bottom of this thing somehow. Maybe not. Hang on. I need to hide the playfield. Now I can do this. I mate this piece here. Stop it. Mate this piece to this piece. It's going to raise right up. This is going to interlock right on the inside. Right in there, right? So it's down a little bit, which is fine. And it's probably going to be pressed a little bit too with this post, because I'm going to find a post that's just the right height, maybe a tickle shorter for what this needs to be. And this drop down actually looks to be about right. You know? And I'm not really going to need a major scoop assembly on this side. I'm only going to need like a little metal reflector type of thing. That's actually kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. So maybe if I make another mount point over here, I don't even need the hooks. Um, because obviously I need more than one mount point for this. And I was originally thinking about mounting it on to like this thing over here, but I didn't think I needed that. But if because this is all flat, I mount it right here. That's gonna look kind of ugly. But if I mount it right here, it won't look all that ugly. Huh. Well, right there would be a hook that kind of comes out around. Yeah, I don't know. And here, this is the orbit's right here, so I can't really mount it like along here unless I mount it on the. I don't want to mount it on that plastic. Interesting. All right, well, let's get a post in over here. Let's first off, let's fix this so it doesn't move, because I do have some relations related to this. I don't want that to get screwed up. Um, come on, hide. And let's show the playfield again. Okay, so from the playfield top to the bottom of this thing, how tall is this? That is 3.5 inches high. That's kind of inconvenient. So oh no, 3.53, which means 3.5 is going to be a little, so yeah, plus the wall. Yeah, okay, so that'll work fine. So a 3.5 inch post, which I know I can get those easily. That's pretty good. Um, Parts and spacer. Nope, I want standoffs. .5 inch hex. That's 832. Yeah, I guess I can do that. A 3.5 inch hex standoff. So I can mate this. No, I need a washer first. Uh, hardware. Washers, 8. All right, so now mate all these things together. that to this other side of the washer. Because the curved side always goes up, the flat side always goes down. Then we'll mate this thing. Not that. This thing. Come on. The top of the washer. There. Then this to here. And finally, these holes get mated together. This guy and this guy. Let's make sure this all fits, because if I need to bump that out a little bit more, I can. Oh, that has plenty of space there. See, that comes right up to the top there with that washer mounted on the ground. So now these two plastics obviously get little holes cut out of them. Like little slits cut out, which I can do no problem. Oops, ow. Edit component, this guy. Sketch. This slot gonna come out. It opened up like this. This will be perpendicular to this. This needs to be mounted right here, and I'll fix that there. This should be 5/16 round. That's more than enough space for it to go in and twist and everything. And just for completion's sake, this will be 0.25. Here's extrude cut. Through all. Okay, so there's one. And then the next one is this. And it's going to be the same thing. But I'm going to make sure to edit the fucking assembly first, like it, and not be an dumbass about it. Sketch the slot. Okay. Sketch the slot. That's mounted right here. That's perpendicular to this. That has 5/16 round and is 0.25 long. Extrude cut through all. Okay, so now there's a space for that post right there that I need. And something else that I should do is the mounting hole for that thing. Which I might have a spare mounting hole I'm not using in here that I moved out of the way. So I'll check that out. Device holes. That's in use. Those are all in. Oh, why is this not the correct size? Interesting. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's a mounting hole. This is not attached to anything. So I can take this, and I can throw this right on there. And boom goes the dynamite. I have a hole there. Okay, yeah, right. Another thing I mentioned I needed to do was on this need to um, edit this part. This base here needs to be slightly adjusted. Right. This is on here. All right. So if I fix this, yeah, you're not gonna be happy, but I don't care. This this needs to pull up a little bit, like that, and this should pull up a little bit, like that. Nope, not that far, guys. Just a little bit. Um, Stay there. Move out of the way. Comes up a little bit like stop associating with that thing. This just pulls up a little bit like that. Thank you, Christ. Okay. That fixes that. And I believe this no longer is in conflict back here. I might need to hide a bunch of things to see it again. Oh yeah, there's a lot of space under there now. So that's perfect. All right. Okay, so far I've adjusted this target or the target underneath the pumpkin to reflect properly the new location of this vine slingshot. I have fixed this under plastic so it doesn't conflict with the ramp, and I've started this ramp drop out over here that I mean I really think I can simplify this a little bit. Yeah, I really do think I can simplify this. And in fact, well, that could be cheeky. Because remember, I mentioned I wanted to put a metal guide under along here, right? Because there's potentially some space for that right along here. Um, if I put that guide there, in theory, I can use that guide, the guide itself, as the scoop part. So when I put the guide there, because this ramp can slide right in without any problems, because that's going to be high enough. And then I don't even need that other post and thing. And then I can leave the mounting point over here that I kind of wanted to have to begin with. I don't know. Because if this gets, I can pull this down a little bit. Oh, but that's going to be a really thin slam if I move that. Oh, that's not ideal. It wouldn't be ideal. Um, I pull that up a little bit. I think I might. Uh, no good place to. fix that. Unless I pull it way out. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, I can simplify that. So I can still have a post here, I think. Oh no, I know what I'm gonna do. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna change all of, like, most of that exit. This paper is gone. I'm gonna have a little metal drop right here. That this now extends straight out to the other side and basically has like a little metal scoopy drop. Then this will naturally have its own flange on the end, have the ball kind of go where it needs to go, and yeah, I think that's gonna be the better solution. And then that's just a single part instead of a multi metal part, and it simplifies the whole thing. Yeah, and it makes it more visible too. Because this plastic, oh, that's interesting. This plastic can come around here and literally loop and come back up as one big plastic. Can I get away with that? I might be able to get away with that. No, I'll make it two plastic. I'll keep it two separate plastics. But I definitely want. Yeah, I think I know what I'm doing with this now. I think I know what I'm doing with this. So that means also this guy needs to. I need to make sure that this is not too close to the top here. So this distance from here to here is 1.2. Okay, that's like perfect. So if it does that, then comes and flattens right out and then drops. That's not a tall drop. I can easily have a slam plate right along here. That slam plate, where does that slam plate live? If I look in here, that slam plate would be a little bit over on the side here, so it doesn't occlude too much of your shot view here, so that's okay. Or I could add the slam point right here, like where the other one is, because this could curl up that way. You have enough downward speed that your ball isn't going to get screwed going up that direction. Oh, that's interesting. So now this goes up around there and down. Oh, that's interesting. I kind of like that. How would I do that? How would I try that? Worst comes to worst, it's not going to work, and I need to redo this one little assembly, right? Okay, so I'm going to go to this this part here, this main sketch here, and I'm gonna add a ball drop location, which is gonna be here. This is gonna be 1/116. 1 1/8. And it'll be for construction. Yeah, and that's gonna go right here, and I'll have a slam plate right here, kind of like what I do on the other side, and that's far enough up that it's not that I can still have a lot of clear plastic down here for you to see the shot. Then this is just gonna hook up and around. Okay. I'm tired of chit chat. All right, so now let's go back to the assembly itself. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be really interesting. and a component. So I don't need these pieces anymore. I don't need this piece anymore. I'm keeping everything else. This length is now actually going to be a little shorter. This length is going to become, you know, not here. Maybe like here. Fixed onto too many things. Here. So this distance, yeah, I'm going to do distance on this now because this is diverging a little bit. The 1 7/8 goes there. And then, so this complicates things a little bit because now I need to make a plane right here. So if I create a plane, put the plane right there, and then make sure it's flat. Sure it's there. This needs to be for you. Parallel. Parallel. Coincident. And then on the right plane, okay, I get it. I want this parallel like this. I want this here. I want that right there. Yes. Okay. Actually, I made that stupid, didn't I? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. But let's be a little more intelligent with this. Let's sketch horizontal piece right here. Hey, guess what? I now have a plane where I want it to be. Ugh, dummy. Convert. Perpendicular. This is going to be 1/8. Okay, so now I have a plane where I want it to be. Features. To surface. Boom. And I can pull this up here. Because this fillet also goes here. Not there. Here. And this fillet also goes here. Okay. All right, so now with this sketch, I want this thing to end up here, whatever that means. So this 1 1/8, that the thing needs to be here. 1 1/8, yeah. So that's kind of cute. It's gonna curl around, I guess. So this can come right here. This is gonna be here, and yeah, I'll fix the sizes in a moment. This is gonna be there. I don't need to see this anymore. Tangent. This be right there, and this is going to be tangent. Okay. This and this going to be perpendicular. This and this is perpendicular. That does not go that far out. Whoa. Dude. Bro, buddy. Okay, so now here's an interesting thing. This is going to need to spread out a little bit. And also, I am going to add a teardrop shape down here. So this will have enough speed to kind of plump around, but then that teardrop will help keep the ball going a direction. So right here, I need to widen this, like kind of like that. You know, similar to what I did over there. Now I can fix all of this stuff. For construction. Make sure it's all, you know, mid-pointed and everything. And collinear. Good. This collar doesn't need to be that big. I would like this to be midpoint to this. That would be nifty. Okay, so now I can, you know, I can shrink that a little bit like this. On this side, it's going to have a little bend up. And over, and the plastic's only going to come down to here. So I'll probably have little tabs that kind of bend up around this thing, because that will prevent the ball from kind of doing what I don't want it to do. I'll add a tab here for plastic, because this plastic needs to swing all the way around, obviously. So I can technically pull that way. That's kind of fun. You know, I can make it as sharp as that, which is not ideal, but I can pull this way over here. It's kind of neat. It was a nice gradual curve, because that's easier for the plastic to attach to it. And actually, I do want at least, what is it, 0.25 there. I need at least 0.25 there, which will dictate, you know, sizes of things ever so slightly. And I probably want at least from here to here 0.75 again. And so yeah, obviously that dictates sizes a little bit. This is 1 and 7/16 just to widen it a bit. And then from here to here 0.25 is fine. So I have this this thing going on. The plastic will wrap around. That's a tab point. This plastic, I mean, this plastic technically could have a bend around here as well. I mean, the whole plastic could loop. Oh, it really could loop all the way around. I don't think. Features. Oh, you go. extrude to surface. Here. Yeah, so that loops around like that. Okay, so now I guess the big question is, what's the other mounting point? So, if this loops around. Now, as I said, I kind of want to have something stick out this way and mount. And I didn't actually mark that, but this is going to be orthogonal, so I can easily just kind of plonk that. And this distance is 3/8. So I can do something like this for the time being, and then I can figure it out kind of later on. Is equal to this. Perpendicular to that. Be 3/16 from the edge. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly where this is going to be, but I know it's going to be somewhere over here, and that's how it's going to look. And then just for simplicity, I'll put no, not that. This is 1/8 of it there and there. Then crude to surface. Here. Now on this side, the plastic can be mounted vertically instead of down, because if I mount down, it's going to get in the way of the ball underneath this thing. I loop this around. Yeah, I definitely want this to be channeling more in straight. So sketch. Yep. This is going to be 1/8. I have an 1/8 over here too. I mean, that's going to be a tight bend for the plastic. The plastic just goes straight to here. I do need, well, if I bend this up and kind of curve it a little bit, that's going to be fine. And then I bend this up and I have my flange. And then I bend this yeah, that's fine. That's all that this needs. This is 1/8. Now, technically, yeah, the ball could get stuck right over here if it goes really slow. I don't really think that's going to happen because of how steep this ramp is. Right, ball's going to whip around here, drop, and go in. So I'm going to try it. I might need to redesign this, but I'm going to try it this way. Because I think this will work. Surface. And if it does work, then that really does simplify something. The extrude 7/16 I think is the standard I've been using. Was on there. This is 1/8 for the rivet. Goes up to there. Perpendicular, and it's 3/16. Again, that's the standard I've been using. Okay, now these things I really would like to pull down, and I can. And this one I really would like to pull down. I can. Okay. So this is for here, here, and this is for here, and this is for not there. Come on. There. Okay. Is that going to cause me a problem because of this tightness? I don't think so, because that doesn't get in the way. Okay. So there's that. Now on these sides, I need, and actually what I can do, I can assimilate, what is it? This one. No, this one. Right along here. I do need a couple bend points. Now, I'm breaking this up into 2 different bend points because that'll make it easier for me to actually bend it. If it was a single long bend point, it could get, it could be a bit of a pain in the ass. This is 8. This is 3/8. That spreads that out a little bit. This is 1/8. These are collinear. And I'll probably just have a little bend around like that. That can come straight out this way. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting, semi-complex piece to bend. But, there's nothing wrong with that. This is a multi-part piece. I need to zoom in to deal with this. First, I need to do a little bit of a bend up, and then I need to do the flat piece. These are collinear and 1/16. This was going to be 3/16 up. And now I'll connect this sketch into one continuous block that goes like way over here. Collinear. Come on. This is collinear. This midpoint, the midpoint here. And then these will go out a little bit more. 1 5/8 is fine. And this extrudes. What are you doing? What are you doing? This extrudes. 0.75. Come on. 0.75. Thank you. And this. Actually, you know what I can do? No, I'd rather do it 2 different operations. Never mind. This over like this. This over like this. These are both 16. Okay, this has plastic here, so I don't have to worry too much about that per se. So I can say this is 1.25. This one has plastic that comes to here. So this needs to be a little bit more particular. This is 1 5/8. Rude. Here. All right. So those kind of act as guide walls. Let's pull all this shit further down again. So these curves are these curves here. And these curves will be these curves here. All right. All right, so there's that. So this is that kind of return ramp. Again, I haven't put the side plastics on. But I think, I think this might work okay. Oh, the other thing I need to add is that teardrop shape, like I mentioned, right here. Sketch. This comes down like this. Cross. This this is tangent. And I mean, sure. Perpendicular. Now when it gets around here, it is going to kind of guide down into there. And this is going to have a fillet of 1/16. Here's extrude, cut. So something like that. Which means this might need to expand out a little bit more. Let's do that. Where's this sketch? This one? Yeah, so let's get rid of these lines per se. Let's make this come in here more. This becomes a tangent more to this. No, 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 no. You stay fixed there. No, and you stay fixed there. Basically, I don't want any of that to move. I want this to open up a little bit more. And remember, that plastic's going to come down to here. That's really thin. This should fix this. Let's fix this, I guess. Or not. Let's fix this. Let's make this 2 inches. Oof, that's too big. Oh, 7/16. So we'll make this 9/16. Fatten that up a little bit. Yeah. And then this, I'm also not a fan of that now. I kind of want this to come up a little bit. Linear. This should, nope. This should go 7/16. 5. Yeah, all right. I see how that kind of guides up and around a little bit more. Interesting little cubby right there. So this mounts here, that mounts there. This is a little rickety, I think, but I think it'll be fine, generally speaking, because this plastic is that's mounted along here is also going to add support. This plastic along here is going to add support, and technically I could make a hole here and have the plastic wrap around here and mount there also. Because the ball doesn't need to fall in this section, and I can make this curved less and a little more straight. It's going to curve up and around here, and then I can change the teardrop a little bit. Maybe I should do that. Teardrop is here. So around like this. Well, when you say control the EM, what are you talking about? Are you talking about luau? Um, Yeah, if I put that there, I put, then I change again this shape a little bit again. Well, honestly, if I just take this and I mate these two things together, I mean, that's probably what it should be quite frank. Oh, like that, right? And then this can extend out a little bit more. The plastic will extend. Yeah, okay. All right, I see what's going on here. That's not the one I want. Um, 1 3/4 and 7/8. Then the plastic comes right down in. That plastic comes around in. The ball isn't going to go anywhere along there. The ball isn't really going to slam this and cause it to go out of sync because it's going to be riding along this side. This needs to bump out more because the plastic needs to be on the inside. Yeah. So I can't make all these equal to each other, unfortunately. This needs to be 3/16. This needs to be 1/8. Okay. Basically, what I just determined was the plastic's going to be on the outside here, but it needs to be on the inside here. Otherwise, this pad is going to get in the way when the ball loops around, and I want it to be smooth. All right. Let's see what this looks like. Well, actually, first off, let's make sure this still unbends. Edit component. I'm sorry, not edit. Let's make sure this unbends. Because if it doesn't unbend, I need to fix that before I go too far. That would be, in my opinion, a critical problem. Sheet metal, convert to sheet metal, collect all bends. Good, that looks okay. Now if I flatten the part, hey, there we go. So this is now what the part looks like flattened. This is gonna be fun to bend up. I mean, a lot of these things are really thin little tabs that just bend up, and then these two pieces are, there's simple little curvy bends. The more complex piece is this because I have basically a box I need to make, and then I need to take that box and I need to bend that box up. So be that's gonna mean I need to muck around with my fingers and the positioning of the fingers that on my bending tool for that. All these other things, like these things, I can just take pliers and go wonk and kind of pull them down because they're really, really not very thick at all for this. And all of these are um, it's all bent in this basically the same way. This is the only semi difficult part. All right, so let's undo all of that. So the sheet metal is good. The other thing I want to do, this is ultimately going to be green. So how about we metal, or how about we add paint, braid, or powder coat? Well, is there green here? There's no green. Oh my god. Copper, steel. Oh, okay. So it's gonna plastic. I thought there was going to be green paint somewhere. Huh. All right, plastic, medium gloss, green. Because this is the vine ramp, so it's going to be green. It's going to have powder coated green. Ideally. All right. That. And pumpkin. That goes in right there. Hey, I wasn't too far off with this piece over here, right? Check that out. That's kind of neat. Now that clashes with this, which means I just need to pull that whole thing back a little bit, and I do have the space to do that. I have the space, and that works in my favor because that makes less of a curve here. But yeah, see how that kind of goes in right there? All right, let's fix a couple of these oddities on this. That is this. Which feature is this? This one? Oh, right, because I have it assigned to this. Now this is going to screw a bunch of things up. Actually, I'm not going to... Yeah, I probably should. So this is actually going to drop over here. Now everything's going to be messed up there. Yeah, this doesn't know what to do now. What's an easy way to fix this? 9/16 is this here. Okay, yeah, see that pulled everything down, which is cool. Now I'll fix this here. This if I can. Okay, what's preventing me from pulling that down more? Technically, I should. Okay, that's there. Oh, this whole. Let's get rid of all of this because I want this to be more down here now. And this be more down here now. Is this that's perpendicular to that? This does not seem to be perpendicular to this. And that can go in like that. That flange is there now. How does this break everything? It breaks a whole bunch of things. Okay. This cut screwed obviously is completely wrong like that now. It needs to come more like this. This extrusion needs to come down here. It's going to be mounted kind of like yay. I kind of like yay. It should be kind of like yay. The next thing that can be adjusted is this distance here. That this can now become 1 and 1/2 Not 1.5. That can be 1.5 again. And now that clears away from around here. This is now in the right spot. This now all has locations that it can mount in. And that's high enough that the ball can go under it. This is going to be far enough out of the way that when you're looking at your shots over here, you'll still be able to see all that because this is largely going to be clear with little vine decals on top. When the ball loops around this way, I mean, I can have little decals and things on there. So I might make a little spot where I can mount a plastic up here. Maybe. That can be for later on decisions, me. Okay, so something I want to figure out. The height from here to the bottom of that bracket here is how high. That is 2.48. So I can use a 2.5 inch post right there. Come on. I can put a 2.5 inch high post right here. And that will work really well. 2.5 inch post and a washer. Okay. Mate. I just want to see how this works or how this looks. One. Two. All right, my my internet is seriously acting up again. So I'm gonna probably end this in a second. As you can see, the post right here lives pretty comfortably right this. Now, this is a really thin section of plastic. I'm not a fan of that. And I'm not sure a good solution to that because obviously this post just barely fits in there. You can see this is pushed up a little bit higher. I'm not worried about that at all. I just mounted a little higher, whatever. And to combat that, actually, there's an easy solution. If I go into this this particular extrusion is this one. Instead of this being a hole, I can make this into a slot. And the slot 3/16 across here. And you know, 1/8, something like that. Mount you in here. That's where I expect it to be. Fix that. Okay, so now with that being a slot, really, what the hell? Edit this. this concentric with, thank you. Yeah, so now, depending on how this slides back and forth, I have plenty of space to mount that and make sure it stays in the right spot. Because, as this goes up, the thing is going to slide over this way a little bit to make sure things stay flat. Anyways, so there's that. And this fits, I believe, correctly there. Just take a sanity check. Yeah, there's enough space there for that to go in. There's enough space here, over there. Technically speaking, this probably needs to move down and over a little bit, but I don't have a lot of playroom on this. And I might need to make adjustments to allow for that playroom. Now that I know what's going on, because if this goes straight down here and then curves at the last second, that'll give me a lot more space over here to be able to cut plastic in. And I think that's what I need to do, because then this comes down here and cuts over at the last second. Edit this. These are, that. Nope, that's this sketch. Yeah, this sketch does have that. So if this is pulled down like there, pulled down more like this, because I have enough plastic space here, and this is more vertical like this on the entry. Make sure that this doesn't move around at all. 2 inches. I can adjust this. Be more like. See, that's a little more gradual for this. Doesn't need to be that much. Ow. Yeah, like now if this is going straight down here, I now have the space here for this. Oops. Come down. Or because this really just needs to be horizontal with that. Like all of this needs to be horizontal with each other to ensure everything stays linked. If I fix this there, and I keep this fixed here, that fix the point. Then this is vertical. I don't want to be vertical. Well, if I get rid of this, so this can be vertical. I can still have my slam spot here. That gives a little more space around here. And then when this curves in, this would need to be an S curve, kind of like that other thing. Horizontal. And my hand is really acting up now too. Jeez. See, that gives a lot more space. Now I have spots to cut. Circle. Come on. Equal, and both are for construction. Come on. See that? So that associate. Yeah, so that gives a lot more space there, and then it's just a matter of slightly adjusting this ramp. This guy is still kind of fine, to be honest. Um, I'm a little concerned about adjusting this too much because then that again gets back into the whole curl situation. This lowering it down helped a bit. All these mount points on this thing are still valid here, and then I can cut this without a problem. I have enough space. And because this is going straight down here, the ball is going down on this rather than hitting onto this section. This thing, the extrusion, right, because this was originally a much bigger ramp. That makes life really kind of a pain to move around, doesn't it? I mean, technically, I don't care about any of these other things down here anymore, since I've remade everything, and I kind of really want to just get rid of it all, because it is causing a problem now. When I do want to make modifications, and this is going to cause a whole slew of other problems as well. Not for unfix this. So this should go to here, but it needs to move over to here. And that will work out fine once I fix every hundreds of errors that I just caused. Is this, of course, all these other flanges don't. This is quarter inch. The quarter inch is on the bottom. No, I don't know what the quarter inch is for. What's the quarter inch for? Ow. Ow, ow, ow. I don't think I need the quarter inch anymore, so I'm going to get rid of the quarter inch. I think that was for some other piece. This fillet is rid of those. This fillet is 3/16. Okay, so this 3/16 one I think is this. And this fillet 1/8. I don't know what that one is. 3/16. This is 1/16. Okay, so this is the inside one. Okay. And this fillet, missing that edge. Oh, Oh yeah, no, I don't want this. Damn it. Come on. This fillet. Don't want. God damn it, hand. This loop. I don't want that loop. Got a fillet there, I got a fillet there. The shell is just missing it. All because it has a. Shouldn't be offset like that. This should be linear to this. That. And the last thing I think is the mounting point over here. This cut. More importantly, what is this? You attached. What are you still in relation with? Relation to the. Oh. Ow. I don't want your relation to that. I see what's going on there. This relation goes away. Relation goes here. This is collinear with this. That fixes that. This cut is wrong, obviously. This stays along here. Sorry. This stays along here. What else are you complaining about? Parallel with any. You're not parallel with that. Okay. So now that ramp is coming right down into this thing as desired. This ramp is slamming on there as desired. And the height from here to here is less than an inch, which is not good. So that can't go that far down. What I almost think I want to do, which actually could be pretty useful. I mean, technically speaking, I could make a piece that stick. Well, no, I can't because of how this flange works. No, forget about that. I was gonna say I could make this attached to here, but I can't do that because of how this works, how that bend works. But I am gonna need to raise it up a little bit. So sketch, where are you? Oh boy, here we go, Comcast. Oh boy, here we go, Comcast. What the fuck? This instead of being 1 inch, it needs to be 0.75. How does that change everything here? It doesn't change it too much. It doesn't change it too much. Yeah, I can still slam down there. Well, I can pull that way a little bit now. So this sketch. Currently 1 7/8. I can make this 1 5/8. That makes it steep again. And then, oh, this needs to move. Be more centered. And of course, this piece needs to be rejiggered. All right, so now that I think is high enough. Evaluate from here to here. That is now about 1 1/8, which is high enough for the ball to go underneath. So I don't want to screw around with that anymore. This post now is wrong because every little stupid change you make, it affects everything else. So this post needs to become something different. Let's see what height it is up from the playfield now. It is 2 3/4. Okay. So do I have a 2 3/4 inch post? Two 2 3/4. Okay, good. So this needs to mate onto the washer. Here. And it needs to, oh Jesus, mate onto the washer. Then mate into the washer. And then mate into the hole. Yeah, good enough. All right. So this will push it up again a tickle higher. It'll be really interesting to see how this works now because this is not as steep as it used to be, but it is downhill here, it is downhill here, so there should be more than enough speed for the ball to get into this hole, and the hole is more than wide enough for the ball to drop through uh, and not go so fast that it hits the back and reflects out. If that is the case that happens, um, then I just can't have a drop there. I'm going to have to have a drop right here and change how this reflector works. I mean, it's as simple as that. So I guess that's all I'm going to be able to do today. I have some things I need to do right now. I'll be back this afternoon, probably in another 4 hours or so. I'll be back. Hopefully, the internet will be a little more stable at that point. It really kind of pisses me off. It's been kicking me off a lot. Uh, but yeah, okay. So what was done today? A quick recap. This target was adjusted to reflect into the kicker. This plastic down here was adjusted to not be in the way of the ramp. These ramps are now more fully realized than they previously were. And because those ramps were realized, I'm now adding the return lane here, and most of this work this morning was this loop return, vine returny loopy thingy. This afternoon when I come back, I'm going to want to finish this up. That's probably going to take another good hour plus to add the side plastics and things. I also want to add in the 3D printable part that attaches to these 2 points here that is going to hold the switch up here. And I will probably then figure out what I want to do over in this section. Like I was talking at one point about cutting this down and putting a guide along here. Um, I could do that. I could take this and bend it up a little bit. This section kind of stick out and bend up. One thing I'm a little concerned about. Let's save this for now. But one thing I am a little concerned about because I did have to shrink some things is the bendability of this. So if I take this and I go sheet metal, convert to sheet metal, collect all bends, flatten. Okay, it still all fits. That was my biggest concern. When I pulled this in and turned it a little bit more, this edge here could have started to conflict with this left section on when it's all flat, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like everything still kind of fits the way it needs to be, which is awesome. And now something else that I was thinking about that I could do to prevent things from bending the way that I don't want them to during gameplay. If I put a tab up here and I put a tab up here, I could then here, let's unflatten this. I could then put a plastic across here, so that'll prevent the ball from reflecting up, but it'll also keep the shape of this thing in the form that I want it to be. It again that makes yet more bend parts for this, but those tabs would be like these, like this thin little thing that I can just use pliers and I can bend that without a problem. So I might do that. That'll add a little bit of interest up on top of this, and it'll prevent the ball from hitting this and slamming and bouncing up and force the ball down more into this hole. All right, folks. I'll see you later on.